At this point, it is 5:38 and I will call the meeting to order, since we are not technological whizzes here and we are not figuring this out. I've already written down everybody who's here. Welcome, everybody. And I thought I would start the meeting today by reading our mission statement, which is to enhance the appearance of our community through the addition of art and landscape projects that foster economic growth in Groton. So keep that in the back of your mind or the front of your mind. Did everybody get a copy of the minutes? I hope. And
Yep.
I'm wondering if we have two sets of minutes, both our regular meeting that was July 12th, 2021, and our special mural meeting, which was on July 22nd, 2021. You should have received the meetings for both of the minutes for both of those. Did anybody have any corrections or additions to the meeting, to the minutes? I'm sorry.
No, but there's somebody talking in the background and it's kind of coming through pretty loud. Hear that?
Yes.
Anyway,
It's a male voice.
Oh, it could be that's coming from my sunroom. Someone is working there.
Oh, okay. All righty.
I make a motion to approve the minutes,
Second.
July 22nd.
And can we do, I believe we can do them both at the same time unless there's any changes that need to be made. So it's actually the 12th and the 22nd, or did you say that already, Bruce? I may have missed
Well,
it.
12th and the 22nd.
Okay, and there's a second. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Awesome. Okay, carries. All right. Any communications? Anybody have any wonderful discussions with anyone recently? All right, but let's move right on into unfinished business, which is a mural update. So unfortunately, I don't see Leanne here, but we were also hoping to, I know you sent out some information, Tabitha, but do you want to just give us a quick update on what you learned about zoning?
Zoning?
Yeah, zoning, the mural and zoning, you sent out an email.
Yes. I'm sorry.
You do things so quickly. It's like, oh wait, I already took care of that.
I do. So the sign, if it's considered a sign, it could be a zoning issue, but it's not. It would be just a picture, so it doesn't seem to be a problem. But Deb Jones said that she would take a look at it before.
Okay, so we would just get a design and just run it by her?
Yeah.
Okay, so if it's not truly a sign, then there's no zoning no process.
No.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, well, thank you so much.
No wording on no wording. So we could use QRs to embed something we want to be said there, I guess.
What's that, Elaine? I didn't
We
catch
could
that.
use QRs to embed something that wouldn't be a sign, but would qualify as a mural.
If it's a historic mural or something, we could have a little history behind it.
Right. But, well, I'm hoping that we could, like each at least have a word versus a sign, which is that for advertising purposes type of thing? Well, anyways, we'll figure
Don't
it
we
out.
worry about that when we come to it?
Yeah.
I think it's a Second Amendment free. It's like, it's been an issue with the courts to have certain words in signs, like if it's considered political or
Yeah.
things.
All right. Well, we'll try to avoid anything like that. All right. Does anybody else? There's the gentleman actually that everybody has come together. I think everybody came across his name at the same time. I got it from Aline, I got it from Nancy, and then Patrice Grantowski also sent me the gentleman's name, who Nancy had been looking for, and then everybody all came across it at the same time, I think.
I think Aileen found it, right?
Jamie Pearson?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
guy in the paper with the sub base.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so and I believe it was Joy who sent a message saying he'd be a really good choice. Obviously that we still need to look into it. Nancy, have you had any luck coming up with any historical photos?
Can you hear, I don't know, can you hear me at all?
We can hear you, yes.
Oh, okay. I did talk with Jim Streeter. He got very excited about this. We talked kind of about the Midway Oval, possible mural. And, I mean, obviously the man is history inside and out, but he would be more than happy to help us and was very interested. He's in Vermont. He's back at the end of the month around. And so I thought maybe for just a special meeting with him to talk about it first.
Okay. We'll be
I'll
back
try
at
to
the end of
organize.
August.
Right, around the 22nd, he said to contact him, which I'll do.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, do you know if he has any,
I think he has a lot of different images that he
Okay,
can help us with.
images? Okay, all right. Oh, that would be lovely. That might be a way to, a meet and greet. That's the one, isn't it Leanne who keeps wanting to have some type of beverage available?
I think that'd be good for all of us, actually.
Yes, exactly. Outdoors. All right. Well, excellent. Well, that would be, we'd love to hear from him and maybe get some design ideas. Do you have anything, Bruce, that you would like to add?
No, not really. I did go up to Westerly and look around and see what the murals were. And I didn't see much downtown, but I was talking to Nancy and she said that the one mural that's a nice one is on the other side of the Knickerbocker. I
Mhm.
didn't go up that far, but they didn't really have anything downtown that I could spot that if you were driving by or something like that, you would see anyway.
Uh-huh.
So I'd like to know where they are at some point. Maybe, I don't know if Dana has a list of those or if they're outside of town or.
They are, there are others outside of town, but that, if you go to watch that, there's a YouTube video, and I think I didn't print the minutes out. I may have put it in where you look on YouTube in our minutes, because Dana mentioned it. And I went and watched it because it's and they have pictures. They mentioned where a number of them are, but Dana let us know later there were 16 of them. So there were 16
that's
total.
quite a few.
And some of them I think are tucked away a little bit more, but they're, I think you can probably find, I didn't see a listing of them, but I saw the YouTube video, and they also have the Facebook page called, oh gosh, she gave it to us and I went and looked it up.
Well, if it's listed, I'll look it up, but
Yeah.
I really want to see some of them in person, you know?
Yeah, Bricks and Murals, Westerly Pawcatuck. Yeah. So, yeah, and I was surprised. There were some that were pretty easy to see, and then I think there are some tucked away a little bit.
But we need Leanne's information. That's kind of key because that's the only spot that we have right now. She was going to talk to Ackley and get back to us or me. I haven't heard anything.
Right. I need to talk with her. We did speak, and so I will need to be speaking with her because
Okay.
towards the end of our meeting, I get to speak in front of the town council, and we need to talk about what I'm gonna speak about. But so I have spoken with her once, but it was with regards to that, not
When are
with.
you going to do that? When are you going to do that?
End of this month, dear.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, be happy to go and support you.
Yeah. Yes. Well, we'll get to that, but thank you. So, but it did bring up, so I've seen, it's interesting when you look at, say you're standing looking at the Bridge Market, on the far right-hand side of the Bridge Market, it's blue. And then on the far left-hand side is the Ackley, I think the liquor store, I believe, and that's white. I
Yeah.
always had in my mind, we've never discussed this, that it would be on the blue side. Is it, but does do we know, or do we have a preference? Because I realize
think
the
it should
white
be on
side's
both
pretty
sides.
easy. I'm sorry?
Let's do both sides. Let's
Both
do both sides.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
really, sure you could, no problem.
Okay, well, go Nancy, man. She's just,
Yeah.
Yeah, do both sides.
Yeah,
okay,
Do side of Ryan's Pub while you're at it.
thank you. I
Right.
agree.
Did you notice they did the driveway? They just
Paved
The whole-
it, yeah.
Yeah,
I
they
know.
put the, yes. And also I've noticed that, okay, so there's the new smoke shop, there's Ryan's Pub, and then there's a little cafe, and that person has really cleaned it up. She's got some flowers there. I'm sorry, that person, I don't know if it's a he or she, of course, I assume it's a woman. I'm sorry, I'm being very sexist. The individual they have put out a nice little dining chair, a little settee kind of, and some plants. And I noticed even the weeds had been pulled out. So I'm just amazed at those little things. Thank you for bringing that up, Missy, because I just drove by there today and saw that they'd put the black tar down.
Yeah.
So, yes, all those little things make a tremendous difference, I think.
mhm.
And your planter in the park does too. I have to say, every time I go by the park now, I look at the planter and it's beautiful.
Yeah, and the D-bomb is enormous. I mean, it's
It's
like
enormous,
about 3
right.
feet tall. I went by it today. It's really enormous. So that's great. You can really see it from the street,
Right.
so. So yes, I enjoy doing those little things and, all right, so I'll speak with Leanne. And Nancy, if you speak with Jim, we would all,
Yeah.
I think, would all love to speak with him and hear what he has to say and some ideas. So,
I have a contact for you we might be interested in following up on. There's a very good sign painter out of Pawcatuck. His name is Cam, C-A-M, Burtz. And unfortunately, I haven't been able to reach him, but he's the one who was working with all of the artists. And I don't know how much of the actual murals he did himself, but apparently he's very good. And he was a very important part of the whole project. So we really should, he lives in Groton Long Point, and we really should try to also meet with him or get some information from him. I'm still trying to reach him. He's on vacation.
okay, all right. We'll send that, email me when you get that.
Okay.
That's great. So he worked on the Westerly thing?
He
Too?
did.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
What's his name again? Cam?
Cam Burtz.
Yeah,
think it-
okay, I think
Yeah.
I know him, okay.
And he owns a really nice business of mostly signs that he does for like businesses and front of houses and things like that. He's kind of very classy, carved signs, wood signs with gold and mermaids and things like that he carves into signs. So he's very talented. I didn't realize he worked on the mural project until somebody told me, but I'll try to get more info.
Well, they had so many people. I mean, they had like over 100 volunteers. It was amazing. So if you go and watch the YouTube video, which actually was it was actually a Rhode Island, kind of an interview, a news story. And they had just people everywhere. It was like a carnival. It was phenomenal. So, anyways, I think I mean, it's wonderful to have a number of different people to consult with, because you get all those good ideas. And then we'll have Bruce there and Dana and the artsy people who can kind of help us who are less artsy, or I shouldn't say us, I'll say me, who is less artsy, through that kind of part, because that's kind of a language I don't speak particularly well. So I really appreciate the arts input from those of you who have that talent.
There's Leanne.
Hello.
Oh,
Hey.
hello.
I'm sorry, I was on a Rotary meeting and I just got off, so.
Well, we're so happy to have you. We were just talking about murals, and we were wondering if you had heard from the Ackleys at all.
Absolutely, had a very nice conversation with the gentleman that owns the building. He's very favorable to going forward with it.
Uh-huh.
He hopes it'll be a historic mural that goes on there.
Mhm.
Okay.
I told him when we got further along with it, we would invite him to see what we have in mind.
Okay.
Excellent,
And so it's definitely a go with him.
excellent. That's great.
That's awesome.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And Missy, I'm working on trees. I'm really working on trees.
Wow, wow, that's wonderful. I was reading about New London who had that tree planting campaign. We don't need to go that way, do we? They apparently had a community outreach where they gained, I think, about $5,000, and then it was matched by something called Sustainable CT, who matched 6,200 for the trees. We're just going to do a nice, slow ourselves, right? We're going to do it ourselves. We don't need to.
So far. Let me just finish up this before we
I'm
move on.
sorry.
I do have that over here, tree money. And I did go back. Unfortunately, we're having a hard time. We couldn't get Dana and Patrice onto they're in attendees, but we can't seem to get them on. But I did text with Patrice a little bit about this, and sounds like it's not as easy as, sounds like she's also working on getting the tree situation organized. But one of the things I want to back up a little bit, Leanne, is I just talked about which side of the building would we want to do a mural on, and the consensus was both. Let's do both.
Well, he asked me that today, and I said at this point, I thought it was only going to be on the side where the restaurant is.
Uh-huh.
And he thought that was fine. And I didn't talk about the other side of the building. So
Okay. All right.
I'll tell you what I'll do in exchange. I'll see if I can get us an okay to do the car parts place up in the middle of town.
Oh, she's on a roll now. She's on a roll now. I love
Well,
it.
You know, you never know who you're going to run into. So,
Uh-huh.
but I'll work on that one.
Okay. All right. All right. So then what's our next step? Then, well, so I don't think you heard this. Nancy has spoken with Jimmy Streeter, and he is up north, and he'll be back in another couple weeks, and is very happy to speak with us. And maybe we'll have a special meeting to get some, I guess he's got plenty of images, and I think all of us are feeling something historical, and we might just see something and think it's wonderful. And
Well, he immediately came up with what we've been talking about. He immediately came up with Midway Oval and the historic Midway Oval.
You know, Nancy, he's cheating because I talked to him and told him about that.
Well,
you primed the pump.
Thank you, Nancy. Thank you very much.
It worked.
All right, that's excellent. Well, I think we're moving forward here. I'm very, very happy.
I think if I can make a suggestion on this, if we had a list, I think, of people that do murals locally,
Mm-hmm.
if we could put out an invitation to see who might be interested in doing a mural for us there. And so then we could get their ideas of what might want to go up there, and that way start getting a little bit more public about what we're trying to do.
I am also very interested in, I have really truly no idea about the cost of this type of thing.
Yeah, right. I think that's
And
a big if, yeah.
Well, I think we can probably get things donated that we need. We probably would just have to come up with the cost of paying the person or persons that do the mural. I'm pretty sure we can get people to donate the paint, but where the hell was I going with that? I'm in too many meetings today.
We were just talking about, what were we talking about? People who was listening. We were talking about getting, how do we then, so if we want to get some proposals,
Yeah,
then you were talking about the next step.
right. And I think, as I said, I think we had some people around the area that did murals. And if we could, you know, get in touch with them and ask them to do, if they would be interested, and if they're interested, would they be interested in a historic aspect? And do they have thoughts on it? Get a dialogue going with some of these people that we're really going to have to ask to do it for us.
So you're talking about a call for artists then, Leanne, right? Like
I-
a RFP for artists, sort of.
But I'm sure that, I have no idea what they charge for something like that. The girl that her mom works up at the town hall, she said she would just do it. But I can't remember any of the names back when we were having those conversations, but we do have a little bit of money. So, I mean, we could use that money for the first one, and then it makes it easier to make it a fundraiser for the future ones, our 2-year project.
Right. Well, we do
I think
have,
I
go
think
ahead,
we have-
Nancy.
Thank you. I think we have like 3 names so far of artists, and I just think it's important to see samples of what they do, number
Oh, yeah.
one.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, before we even have them go forward, have them present things that they've done.
Oh,
And
yes.
then we perhaps need to develop a little sheet that has the size of the area we wanted to cover, some ideas of what we're talking about. It's not just abstract art. It's, for this one, it's historic. I mean, I think we have to be a little more organized before we invite any artists in.
Well, what about, do any of these people have their own websites that we could go take a peek at? Like this person, Jamie Pearson, who comes so highly recommended. And I'm wondering if this, and the sign painter that Missy's talking to, or it will be in contact with, do they have, sometimes, you know, we might be able to just see a web page to say, so I don't know.
Well, that's helpful, but there's no substitute for going and seeing these things in person, really.
Right, but sometimes painters they might be, you know, far away. So what's the next step, guys? Because this is where I get stuck. What is the next step?
Well, I think we need to put together what we can find about people that do it. And from there, do an invitational letter, asking them to show us either, what do they carry around with all their stuff in it?
Portfolio.
Thank you, Missy. A portfolio. Ask them to come and present their portfolio, or tell us where we could go to look at some of their work, that we're trying to select somebody to do this.
Okay.
And just do, and put in there the things that Nancy's, you know, concerned about, the size and, you know, but I don't know
We
if we
have a
really,
size.
I don't know if we really need all that for an invitation. For an invitation, you're asking them to step forward a little bit.
And we want to present some ideas that we're involved in too, what we
Right.
would like to see.
Well, that's like a secondary, I think, Bruce. First, we got to see if we got people interested in doing it.
Well,
And-
Colleen sent out a
I
list.
think you can do it
with
all at
things,
once.
Right?
You can
Okay.
do it at once.
Okay, yeah.
And I have a
did-
number, I have a phone number that Patrice sent to me for Jamie Pearson.
I'm on, you know, I've looked on his website. In fact, I'm on his website right now, which is very interesting. He's prepping 2 more murals at the Naval Submarine Support Center. We could go and see what he's doing there.
Oh, yeah. Naval Submarine Support Center. Is that on base?
I don't know.
I imagine it is.
Well, sometimes, okay. Wait, Naval Submarine what?
Support
What did I
base.
just
Support
Naval Submarine Support Facility.
Facility, okay. Well, that was, okay, because I can't, you know, I think you can't just go on the base. That was my question.
No,
He's painted 14 murals on and off base since 2014.
Okay,
I-
is there any pictures of his
If you
work?
like, I'll contact him and find out what the locations are so we can try to look at them if you like.
Yeah.
That would be great.
if
That
you,
would be great,
if you
Nancy.
want, I could probably get you a tour. If you want, you know, when you're feeling a little more comfortable with, if you want, like I said, I'm quite sure I could get us a tour. We could pile into a van, a Navy van, and they would take us around and show us what they have.
Mm-hmm, sure.
Yeah. That would be great. That would be great, because, and also, yeah, so we could also maybe get an idea of size when, you know, I'm not very, although Bruce, you might have a much better spatial awareness. I don't have a really good idea when I look at a wall, how big the wall is and what part of it would be covered. You
Well,
know?
I can go over and measure the wall, see
Uh-huh.
what it is, unless,
Both of them, I guess.
yeah.
I also wanted to mention that not everyone can paint horses. Horses are kind of difficult to paint. So even though this fella can paint maybe people or submarines, he might not feel comfortable with horses. So I think we kind of have to get an idea, give the artist that we're thinking of doing this historic mural of yeah, so give them an idea.
Yep.
Not everyone will be up for it.
Okay.
Well, we haven't pinned down exactly what we want there. That was a suggestion that it would fit the area. But you know, with horses there, you're gonna have to explain to everybody in town what it is, because nobody realizes that there were horse races there once upon a time.
Right, but you know what, one of the things that when I went and looked at that, the web, well, I went and looked up what Dana had told us to look at, and the person specifically said, excuse me, that they were teaching history to the people, even people who had lived there their entire life, like in the Westerly Pawcatuck area. They were learning history they didn't even know. And I guess it was super, it says locals learn about local history. And it was so great. Because it really got people interested to know that it had happened right there. And, you know, all kinds of different, you know, problems they had with whaling ships and all kinds of neat stuff. So,
Well, I kind of liked Aileen's, I kind of like Aileen's idea, which would be good for us, is to implant the QR on the murals, and that can be the whole history
Yeah.
lesson, right? People can get it on their phone.
There you go.
Great idea, Nancy.
That was Aileen's idea.
Great idea, Eileen.
We'll get
It's
Aileen
everybody's
that.
idea now.
yeah. Awesome. Okay, awesome. All right, you guys are awesome. Okay. So
We not think about doing more than one scene, so we could also do, you know, this oval that we're talking about, and also other parts of history too, and the same mural. Are you still interested in that? Or do you think you're gonna have one theme for each, you know, one major big picture in each mural, as opposed to doing maybe a collage with 3 or 4 elements on there?
I personally, I'm open to everything. There's cost is going to be a factor. And I imagine the more colors, the more busy it is, the more expensive. So cost is one thing, but I'm personally very open. I don't know how other people feel.
Well, when you're looking at a mural, I think that you want to keep the design as simple as possible, because it has more impact when you're, particularly if you're riding by in a car or something like that. If you're walking around an area, then you can use more detail, because people will stop and look at it and they're only several feet away. But that particular mural on the side of the building there is going to require some pretty simplified design elements, I think, to make it stand out, which can be pretty easy to do, really.
Mhm,
We get the right person to do it.
mhm.
Could be great. So I'll go over and measure it tomorrow.
Thank you. That
Yep.
would be great. And then send it. That's awesome. Good. Well, thank you all. You guys are the best. All right. Can we move on to par 4 planting? Oh, Tabitha.
I had one more question, and maybe you guys said it and I missed it, but are we gonna ask artists to like submit a sketch? Like, are we gonna do a call of some sort?
We should do that at some point. Absolutely. Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't know that we could do that though before we talk with with Jim, so I thought it would be really nice if we
Right.
could start looking around to see what people had done.
Yep, I agree.
And then once we have more, I think we talked last time about, at the last meeting, about having, you can't just say, okay, do this, but you have a number of ideas. Isn't that what you said, Bruce? Like kind of
I-
a,
Yeah, yeah, rather, if we really all feel strongly that we should do something that is like related to those horse races, that's fine. We could propose that to several people. But I don't know, the first one out, it might be good to like have an idea of maybe 3 or 4 things that I wouldn't go any more than that, maybe even 3 things,
okay,
so that we can kind of coalesce around that and present that to some people and then bring out their ideas like Leanne said, and see
okay.
what they might want to do.
I
Get some
think there's
sketches.
one, there is one, one mural in Westerly that has to do with their town logo. And it's very simple, and we have a nice logo, and it's colorful, and it's not busy, and maybe that could be used someplace as well. Kind of just, welcome
Mhm.
to Groton.
Yep.
Which logo
Anyway.
though, Nancy?
Yeah, we got umpteen logos.
We got like 5.
Well, the artist will have their choice.
There you
Okay.
go.
Okay. So we need to start, so Nancy's gonna talk with Jim Streeter. Who said they were gonna call, Jamie? Should I call him?
Jimmy
Depends
Pearson?
on why are you calling him? Why are we calling
Just,
him?
well, so that, actually, did you say, I want to make sure that we can look at his, did you already say he has you said that already, right? That he has a website and you were gonna,
Yeah,
Well,
and
if you just,
I
if you
said
Google,
that, I said I would try to get us a tour to go see them.
yeah, but it would be, I'd love to see his work online if I could, even before then.
Okay,
yeah, I don't see it online.
Okay, all right. Yeah, so then I think we need to go take a peek.
let me see if I can get that set up.
Thank you. I know you don't have anything else to do, Leanne, so I appreciate that. We keep you busy and out of trouble. Thank you, I really
Oh my
appreciate
God, I
it.
get myself in trouble all by myself. All
Yeah, okay, good. Well, we're trying to keep you out of trouble.
right, good. That's a good
Okay.
idea.
Yeah. I talked, I emailed a little bit about the par 4 planting, moving on to par 4 planting, with Mark Berry from Parks and Rec, and he doesn't necessarily have money for it, but I did not go beyond him to the, I thought that since the golf course had been so popular and busy, I would have thought that they would have maybe had some money. Mark encouraged us to go back, like when we talked months ago, when many of you weren't even a part of this group yet, about trying to get donations of plants from community members to put into that area in front of par 4. And Mark said that he could get it out on his social network, Parks and Rec network, to ask for plants. And at first I really didn't think that sounded like a good idea. And then I thought, wait a minute, we could ask for very specific plants. But if from many, many months ago, we had a very detailed plan, and it had in excess of about 90 plants. And I think that would have been challenging to both pay for, plant, and maintain. Then we had a much simpler planting idea. And then we talked about it in July, and more pollinators were brought up. And we may be able to, but we'd have to, once again, maybe ask Tabitha again to have a simple, like, are there plants that people might be able to dig out of their yards? And we're talking, like having Mark put out there who has, I don't know, black-eyed Susans that they could dig up and bring.
Well, wait a minute, you remember, there's only certain kinds of plants they want us to put down there.
Yes, well, it would be, that's what I mean. It would be a very limited list and he wants, but I don't have a lot of grasses because they're so hard to dig up, but there are a lot of people who do have grasses. But we would need to be very specific how many we wanted and what we wanted. And I felt like, oh, that's a lot of work. And Tabitha she thought that was a good idea. So I thought, if we didn't, if we just had a very specific number of plants and easy plants to grow and maintain, people maybe in the community may be able to donate, and then all we have to do is work together to get them planted.
I gotta tell you, the town manager has some absolutely beautiful ones in his backyard that need to be split.
Oh, really?
I started those buggers and I know how big they are and they're beautiful. And I bet we could get him to split a few for us.
Really?
Yep.
Huh. Well, I mean,
That's the only thing I can grow.
what kind of plants are these? Are these grasses?
Grasses, what do you call them? The beautiful grass,
Yeah.
whatever you call them.
Well, right now, pollinators and native plants are really big in a lot of public plantings. So you can maybe categorize it as that, and that includes grasses and all the things that bees like. And they're easy to care for. Anything that's native, very easy to care for.
Okay.
And the grasses grow so beautifully near the water.
Mm.
Yeah.
They love the salt water in the air.
Well, it's interesting though that, certain grasses are enormous and get very large and are very hard to break up.
Yeah.
Those are the ones I won't grow, but there are
Wow.
other ones that are more easily split. But I am not an expert. But really, if we could,
Aline is giving a look like she wants to say something about the plants being split. No? Aileen? No? Okay.
Oh, she's on mute. She's
No,
on mute.
my connection is not very good, so I'm trying to hear.
Oh, I thought you had something to say.
well, if we came up with there is no such thing, no matter how much we want to believe it, as especially a landscape in that situation that's surrounded by asphalt, there's no such thing as a no maintenance garden. There is low maintenance, but there's no such thing as no maintenance. So as long as that's clear to everyone in town, that gardens take maintenance. And, but we're not particularly happy with just a pile of mulch with some signs in it either. So I think we could do a little better than that. So what we need to do, Tabitha, could you and I come up with a list of plants, and I can get those to Mark and he can put it out there, and then I'm gonna ask him, and can you guys get over there and we'll put it where it needs to go, and they need to be able to plant it and cover it with mulch.
Yeah,
Right?
I like the idea that Missy had about the pollinators, because it's popular and it makes everybody happy. So
Yeah.
Right. And a lot of them, they're easy to grow and not difficult to maintain. Okay.
How about
Right.
in order to get people involved in this too, because I really think we need to have lots of involvement in things like this. How would it be if we propose an article in, the insert that comes with the day periodically, and it's about local people, local things that are happening. It's a color brochure. If I contact the publisher, I forget his name, I know you know it, and see if they would do a spread on the beautification committee in Groton.
Hey, are you talking about the one that Michael Whitehouse was publishing there for a little while?
Right.
Yeah, I don't
Right.
think he's publisher anymore, but the person who was his assistant is on
Yeah.
there. That's a great idea.
If you like, I'll talk to her.
I'm actually going to be with her tomorrow. The new publisher.
Of course you are.
Well, I think that would be great. And we got to get the word out there that we need participants.
All right, I will speak to her tomorrow, and Cindy, I'll probably have her give you a call,
Okay,
and maybe
What is her name?
Nancy. It's Jean is all I know. It's Jean something. I don't
Right,
remember the
okay.
last name,
okay,
but I will see her, and I'll see if I can get her interested in making that part of her first magazine.
okay. Yeah. I'm
Good.
sorry, Missy, you're on mute.
And then you can ask for pollinator plants, and you can ask for maybe artists, mural artists. You could do several projects that we're working on. Is that what you're thinking?
Right. Just put it out there, that all of the things that we're interested in, are you interested in? You can be a part of this. You can make it great, beautify Groton kind of thing. Rah, rah.
Rah, rah. Awesome. Yes. All right, good. Okay, well, I will respond to Mark and say, hey, I think we'd like to do that, but we need to come up with a list of plants. But then I'm gonna kind of count on him to kind of get it out there a little bit, that, he's,
We can put it out on Nowak Neighbors and things like that, our
yes,
little local-
exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
exactly.
we have Skip, who does such a great job of writing things up. I think if we just encouraged him to get busy and put some out for us, Cindy,
Uh-huh,
he does a great job when he's writing an article.
yep,
And then we just, have him send it to us, and we'll kind of critique it, and then we could put it out to everybody that publishes.
okay. All right, well, that's good, because I've got one more, I got a couple more things, but at the end here, we're gonna talk about that town council meeting presentation. And this kind of all segues right into, folds right into that. Because that's where we need to get some awareness out there. All right, so really quick, anything on the Groton Arts and Culture Plan update? Patrice did not have anything. I know at the last meeting, Tabitha, you said you'd gone to a meeting for Stonington Borough. Any help that you need? Or I know you were looking for stakeholders, ideas for stakeholders.
Yeah, so I have a list of folks. That's like 8 people, and about 4 have responded at this point. I apologize to everyone so far that I haven't pushed it faster. I'm just kind of swamped with other things right
Oh,
now.
that's
There's been
okay.
A lot of mortgages and things,
Yes, yes.
but I do really, I would take any suggestions on other stakeholders I can contact. At this point, I'm looking for a place to meet as well, because I think it would be nice to meet outside of town hall, a little bit more casual, like if somebody was to volunteer a location. So I was going to reach out to folks about that.
Okay,
Tabitha, I'm just doing over a conference room, and once I get it done, it's fairly good size. You're more than welcome to use it. I've just I'm having a decorator come in and do it for me.
Well, thanks, Leanne.
So you're more than welcome to use it.
That could work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just keep it in
so-
mind.
So I'm hoping to push it along, Cindy and folks that have been interested. I think it's gonna just take a little bit.
Yeah.
My time that I have to carve out.
yeah, well, okay. I just don't mean to put you on the spot. I just want to keep it in
No,
the,
that's okay.
okay. Then under new business, if you all recall, we had a nice meeting last month at the town hall annex. It was our meeting for our murals. And that was the first time I'd been there to have a meeting, and it worked out beautifully. But the one thing that occurs when the beautification committee meets somewhere, even if I get there 5 or 10 minutes early, Andrew and Aline tend to be sniffing around. Then Missy walks up, and then they immediately start hatching ideas for the improvements of the area. And Tabitha can give you firsthand knowledge that the annex was sorely in need of a little attention, and that there were 11 large concrete planters surrounding the entrance to the annex. And a couple, there's a flagpole, there's a sign, and they're all full of weeds and no plants. And we started talking about it, and Aline, who, as we all know, is quite the doer, we went, I think 2 days later, wasn't it? And we filled up her truck with soil, and we filled up all the planters with soil, and Tabitha came out and Michelle came out and other people came out and said, oh, what are you doing? Oh, this is great. And we filled up the planters with soil, removed weeds. Didn't remove all the weeds because we were unfortunately thought a weed was a plant, but so they're still there and they don't look bad, but we did plant a few things. There were a few volunteer petunias, right? Petunias. And we brought a couple, we have some black-eyed Susans, and I brought over some, unfortunately they'd gone by, some daisies, but they're mostly just empty. There were a couple things we could put in there and move around. But they are ready now. Greg from the director of Public Works is fixing they all had a drip irrigation system. And also the whole place, it hasn't been weeded, it hasn't been swept. So we did as much as we could in a couple hours time. And now we'd like to plant, there's a planter that has a flagpole, and it's just right there, full of weeds. And so Aline and I would like to, between the two of us, we think we might even have enough from our own yards to fill that with some native plants. Now, not everything's native. I mean, it's black-eyed Susans, echinacea, coreopsis, lavender. I have a lot of daisies. I don't think the pollinators like the daisies all that much, but we just wanted to make it simple and pretty and have it not cost anything. And then we want to do something in the planters. We talked about possibly mums, if we could get some money or some donations somewhere. And Tabitha thinks that there's a good amount of interest at the staff at the annex. A number of people might be interested in helping out with watering, maybe providing some plants, or we were thinking, oh, maybe we could have a little contest. Each group just could plant their own, but then I kind of like things to be simple and similar. So I don't know if we could do that or not. And I don't know if people would be interested or not.
I like planning in Public Works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, we don't have any money. It would have to be like, okay, number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, and like have a little contest or something. I don't know. If
I
people
think
care.
this ties in with the article that I'm hoping can be published sooner than later, where part of it can be adopt a place in Groton, adopt a spot. And if one could be the annex, another could be the town hall. Those places that don't get attention, that a garden group or a group of people might want to just take on and be responsible for.
Even the mural, you could say, could add money. I'm sorry if you can't see me, my battery's low and I don't think it's charging up fast enough.
Yeah, you're blue now, Missy. You're a blue person.
Okay, that's all right.
You're a lovely shade of blue.
Please call me to do work on those planters. I can be there very quickly and help out with either weeding or planting.
Okay, all right. If we pick a date, I will call you, or you said to text you, right?
Yes, texting is a good way. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Can I say something, Cindy?
absolutely.
I think that those things are great, but what it does speak to is that our government has no pride of place. They should be taking the lead on this kind of stuff, not us. I mean, we can make suggestions and perhaps get a ball rolling, but the town hall and the annex, that's where everybody goes. And those things should be pretty neat. They should, and it's really the responsibility of the town to do that, not us, in my opinion.
All right. Well, this is a lovely segue. Mr. Dermott, thank you very much, because I have an idea, but then it segues right into the presentation, because Well, my idea is to possibly try to, and this goes kind of what Nancy's idea was, is adopting a spot as having kind of a beautification core. People who don't necessarily have to come to a meeting, but that we can put the word out that on this day, we are planting this, or we are weeding this. It might be nice to have kind of an adopt a spot, which is nice, but before it even becomes a spot, getting it to look a certain way. And then some people aren't interested in meetings, but they're very happy to come and weed or make something look attractive. So we're talking about trying to maybe establish a beautification core, which would just be people who wanted to do that kind of thing. Now, we already have a number of garden clubs, and I don't know that, I don't want to duplicate services. And maybe I should first look at getting people who are already involved in a group to come and help, but I'm not sure. Actually, Missy, I was wondering what you thought about that too. I don't know if people get pulled in too many directions.
No, not at all. Garden clubs are always looking for ways to spend the money that they raise all year long, number one, and there's always, their mission is community outreach. So there's a whole division called community outreach in each of the garden clubs. So no, it's just a matter of contacting the right person and bringing them to a meeting, or bringing several of them into a meeting and asking them what they might be interested in next year. You have to plan kind of like a year ahead of time.
Okay.
So that would work.
Okay.
I could certainly handle anything to do with the garden club. I know a lot of people in that respects.
Okay.
I just wanted to mention also that whoever was the maintenance person, who was the landscaper before the person we have here, was so highly thought of. He just kept, and I'm new in town. I'm new in town, but is that true? The person who was before this guy was like apparently godsend. Everyone just raves about the last guy. Is there some truth to that?
The what guy?
Yeah. Are you talking about a Parks and Rec person?
Yeah.
Because Parks and Rec is in charge.
Yes, Parks and Rec, exactly. Who was the former Parks and Rec?
John Silsby.
People were raving about that guy, saying, "Oh, I wish we could get him back."
John was instrumental in many things. One of, like, the playground down at the
Quantic Plains, Quantic Bridge.
yeah, that's for children with challenges, and we planted trees all the time, and John got the senior center up, and the list goes on.
Well,
So he was remarkable. People are saying the current guy we have now is just not pulling his weight. That's the talk at, I'm just going to say Groton Long Point, but that's what the speak is there, that what happened to that last guy who was so good. But I don't know, because I'm only new in town, so I don't know.
Leanne, I see.
I'll take care of it.
Oh, here she is. She's gonna.
Hey, I'm sorry, I just got a call asking us not to talk about town staff.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
we'll put
Okay,
that on abatements.
I from what I understand, the message I wanted to get out to the town is that Parks and Rec takes care of a tremendous area in this town. And I think maybe that is something that people don't understand, because even on the RTMs, a fellow RTM member was talking about, well, I don't use Park and Rec programs. Well, the Park and Rec does a tremendous amount, takes care of a tremendous amount. And every time I say, well, who should I talk to? It's Mark Berry of Park and Rec, who I think has a very, very challenging job. I need to look into this, but I believe his budget has been decreased dramatically and he has fewer people on staff. And this is why he wants everything to be easily taken care of. And I can't blame him. So I am extremely supportive of how hard he and his department works. And I'm actually believe what Bruce said is extremely true. We need pride of place And we need the town to step up and either provide more people to make the town, to keep the town looking delightful, or at least let people understand that the Park and Rec is very heavily burdened. And so maybe we need to get behind some type of, backing their budget a little better.
Well, that's what I was going to suggest. You know, the hardest thing is to remember when it's budget time. We need people to come in. I won't be sitting there next year, but you need to come in and talk to the council, because, you know, every budget item is brought up and discussed at the council level. And if you come in a positive way, ask for, you know, for this amount to be raised, and can it be dedicated towards this, and you're in a positive mood, the council is going to listen. The council doesn't want to not do what needs to be done, but they have to be cautious, as Tabitha would tell you. But, you know, it's amazing. You're working on the budget and there's not a soul there working with you on it. You know, even when we had where you could come into the meetings, nobody comes.
Yep.
And that's what we need to do. We need to, things that are important to you, keep track of what the schedule is and come in those nights. And share what you're thinking. It'll make a huge amount of difference.
I agree.
Some of the things that we're working on, we're blind about them. We don't even know all that's involved in it. So once we're educated a little bit, or the council is educated, they can do a much better job.
Yeah.
So that's the way that we can make a difference. But we're making a difference. I mean, this beautification club is new. I think you're all to be commended greatly for what we're doing. It may seem like it's going slow, but it's not. And we've got some great members. And I think to reach out to others is really, really important now, because the more that we do that, the more people know what we're doing. We help them, they help us, and everybody grows.
I agree.
That's my 2 cents for tonight.
Which brings us to the town council meeting. So Leanne spoke or was in contact with Mr. Burt, and he asked me if I could attend the meeting August 24th. And I was like, wait a minute, I thought Leanne was doing it. No, whoops, what was I thinking? So she said now I don't know, right now, are you guys meeting in the chambers now, right?
Now that we had to go back to Zoom.
Oh, no.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're very disappointed. We would, you know, we do so much better when we're together. So
Yeah.
much better.
Yeah.
You know, when you're on Zoom, it's easy to not cooperate with each other. Let's say it that way.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it will be via Zoom.
And they're at 6:30, correct?
Yeah.
August 24th, 2021, 6:30. I guess it will be Zoom. I'm assuming that I'll have a better idea of when I'll be on the agenda. Anybody who wants to speak, I think you have to let some, I'm not sure who you let know when you're gonna, that you want to speak.
Well, there's only one meeting a month that's open for people to come in and talk about things. So we'll have to check the schedule, because
Okay.
I don't keep track of it the way that I should. But that night, I think it could be really good if maybe there was a way that we could figure out where we could, well, I won't be able to be with you, but if there was a large TV somewhere so you could all be there in a group, and then have somebody do the presentation, and then I'm sure the council will want to ask you questions. So it could, you know, it could be really, really good, but I think it would be good if there was a possible to have a group participating.
Group Zoom?
Yeah.
Well, I think, did you tell me it was only about 5 minutes, 5-minute presentation?
Well, for that, but we can go into questions for longer than that.
Right. So I want to hear from everybody what they think I should be focused on, because the reason I want to get some of these small projects done is just to show what we've done with basically no money, with donations and manpower. These are the things that we've done.
Yeah.
And that I would like to, I'm hoping to get that annex planting done too. And then list the things we'd like to continue to do, big things like the murals, but also, we went and planted these little hostas and a few little donated annuals, and it was pretty pathetic. It might look okay next year when the hostas come back, but I mean, I'd love to have a little more of an impact. And it seems like,
Well, this is when you ask them if you could be considered to be a line item in the budget.
Yeah.
And I think it's appropriate. I think it's time for the council to encourage you and back you and put you into the budget.
This is long overdue.
No, I agree. It kind of got messed up because of the fact that Rachel, when she started it in her eagerness to do it and not make it a burden, said, we're not going to ask for money. But and she was true to what she was trying to do, but it hasn't worked.
No,
So that's what we have to say. We've tried and we have raised some money. We do have a little bit of money.
we are not a poor town. We are
No,
not a poor town. It's just, it's incomprehensible to me how we've let these town buildings particularly go to hell. We've just got to change that whole outlook that the council has and give us some money.
well, I agree. And there hasn't been a conversation about it. So that's what you're doing. You're coming in, you're having a conversation, you can get them thinking about it, and then it changes the thought process.
Yeah, I agree.
So I think it could be very productive, and that's why I encourage John to look towards the beautification club and club group committee, I'm sorry, and see what could be done. So,
So
Yep.
the question is now, quite a while ago, Wendy Berry sent out that thing that says she's encouraging all towns to ask for 1%, which would be $800,000, because of the ARP funds, right? The American Rescue
yeah,
ER program. Yeah, the
Okay.
American Rescue Program. But so I don't know if should I be asking for a specific amount?
no, I think if, well, which are you talking about? The special monies we've got coming or the
The special money, I think.
yeah, I think that you might just echo what she's asked for.
Uh-huh.
And then I would also, though, be sure that you're asking to become a budget item.
Uh-huh. But do I have to say how much I thought? I mean, we can do a lot with a little. I mean, when paintings and art cost a certain amount of money, but I'm hoping if we can get started, that one thing will lead to another, and you might have people who do want to donate to the cause,
Right,
do
right.
want to see economic development, and do want a mural on their building, or an area in town specifically looked at, to beautify. So
I think it would be good to encourage people to at least observe our meetings, listen to them, see what we're talking about, what they can do to help as they come online and listen to the meetings, or when they can, when we're having them in public, attend them.
mhm,
I think it's important to maybe do that little bit of reach out.
okay,
And then, there'll be nothing. I think the councils will probably ask you what you're looking for.
yes,
I do. I think if you talk about the two things you'd like to be included in, and I think that you might get a question as to, what would you think would be appropriate to be able to really give you some strength in what you're trying to do for the town.
mhm, mhm. Yep,
But
$25,000, I think, is a nice round number to start with.
Well, that's what they do in Deland, correct, Bruce?
Yes, yeah. And, that could be mentioned too, that there's a
Right.
precedent for that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Just an idea.
This is in Florida, Bruce?
Yeah. Mhm.
So
Yeah,
they,
They have-
so
they
they
have-
have like a pot of money and they give it to the beautification committee?
Yeah, essentially. They farm out the duties. In other words, like the town would give us the wherewithal to put together artists that take care of murals that are already up, for instance, and repair them. So there's sort of an aspect to just maintenance of the program, because once these things go up, you got to take care of them. And pick the people, not necessarily who do the art. That's kind of almost a committee within a committee, but picking the projects that get done. It's $25,000 and it's money well spent. And they do it every year.
So does the chair oversee the money? I'm sorry, I'm just like wondering about the logistics of it.
No, it's actually the town manager.
Cindy handles the account for the beautification committee.
Okay.
We have a special account. And Cindy, who's the tax person,
Cindy Landry?
yeah,
She's the head of finance.
she has an account that is for us and there is monies in there.
Yes.
Okay.
So, we could ask that monies be put in there and, that we would, if it was anything more than just a regular amount, we would certainly come to the council and explain to them what we're trying to do,
Mhm.
Well,
we could be the nucleus for the whole program, really.
yeah.
I had a question.
I have to apologize. I got another meeting, so.
Okay, Leanne, I need to pull something together to put in front of this, but in front of the council. So you and I'm hoping can get together.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, just give me a call and we'll and we'll get together and work on it.
Okay.
And I just want to tell you guys, you're doing a great job. Don't ever get discouraged. You really are doing so much more than what had happened before. You've gone from absolutely nothing to where you are, and it's great.
Yep.
Just keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Thank you. Talk to you guys soon.
Thank you. Thank you for all you're doing for us, with us, Leanne.
What's that?
Thank you for all you're doing with us, and don't get into trouble.
What, have you heard something lately?
Not lately.
Bye, guys.
Bye. All right, so I'll find out more about the town council meeting. I'm just not exactly sure what I need. I think they're gonna want something a little more specific, a little more concrete.
Mhm. You have to give it to them, I think, because I really don't believe they're able to come up with these ideas on their own. So it would be a good idea to kind of help them along a little bit.
Well, we want to do a mural, but the other thing that we had talked about a while back, remember that very unattractive brown wall that's on the
It's built-
community center?
Yeah.
We wanted to do something there. And when I've just gone to look at the baskets and that we planted, and then there's a flagpole and they planted a little bit around there. I mean, there's a couple of yew bushes, which are very unattractive that really, that could be a planter right there. I mean, these are not horribly expensive things, but they could make a big difference. The other thing is, remember, we kept trying to get the things painted, the utility boxes, and that wasn't going to happen. However, I was thinking, there is a certain amount of concrete right there in front of the both, the area there's obviously the asphalt parking area between the community center and the town hall, and there's also a lot of sidewalks. I mean, those might be areas that could be beautified, even with some type of paint, or, because that is, at least it's town property. We don't have to worry about the state. So I think there's lots to be done. Some of it can be, I think, fairly easy. And I really do think once we get started, we can get some momentum because there have been a couple of things mentioned, brought up that where people are feeling, wow, this doesn't look very nice. I think I was in downtown Mystic and they have the little restroom there that, the town paid for and they put plantings in there and it is a hot mess. It has not been maintained at all. And I know it's something else on the to-do list for the guys to do. And I get a little bit torn between, we could do it. There's no risk to us doing it. Weeding, we wouldn't have, the wherewithal to put something back in there. But
Well, we should ask for more money for specifically for Public Works or Parks and Rec. Either one of those guys could handle that thing. Have
Right.
them have a little line item in their budgets for this kind of things to provide some pride of place for us. But for the council meeting, I think we need to give them a heads up. We need to give them a big picture to begin with, and then detail some of these other things that might go along with it, but present it as an idea for economic development and beautifying the place and making everybody have this pride of place. I think that would be my suggestion on how to present it to them. And then as a corollary to that, make sure that we put some ideas for money into not only our project for like murals and art and so forth, but so that they can provide the maintenance that occurs with all of these plantings. I haven't been by the town hall recently, but I don't know if it's been fixed up. This has been going on for 3 years since I first mentioned it. And the last time I was by it, all the paint was still falling off the building and there was nothing that looked like a nice planting in the yards at all.
Yeah.
And the annex is terrible. Their Public Works is right there.
Right.
What could be simpler than to detail somebody from Public Works to deal with that?
I think once again, you hit the nail on the head, pride of place. And the other thing is, I've got to say, I have gotten tremendous positive responses from everyone in the town that I have asked for help.
Yeah.
And I think this goes back to what Leanne said too. If people, they are so busy and their plates are so full, unless you bring something to their attention, it's going to get overlooked. Because they're not sitting around doing nothing. Believe me, these people are working extremely hard on many different projects.
Yes.
So, and I don't want to make their lives more difficult. I would like to make their lives easier. I want things to look a certain way and I would like to help them achieve that.
And they did with the garbage cans, they did a nice job with that. For instance, you could make mention of that.
Right, exactly. And it was, and I think that would have been difficult to do maybe in the summer. That was a good fall winter project. And I'm, right now it's very, very busy for Parks and Rec. They've got a lot of mowing, a lot of trimming, and it's just, I think it's very challenging. So I think that's true. And at the same time, I really think we can help make it look better. Eileen.
Wondering if the town council can give us an idea how we could work better with Parks and Rec. Like, should we give them a list of suggestions every season or and then divvy it up from there? Or, I wonder if we're not working efficiently with Parks and Rec and the town council can give us an idea how to better that relationship.
They need the money in a specific part of their budget to deal with these things. Otherwise, Mark is going to say over and over again, he's just not able to handle it. I've talked to him about it too, so I know what Cindy, what she means when she says that he just doesn't have enough people.
Yeah. So yes, but but at the same time, I think when I think your idea of putting together some spots in town, Missy, where we think things could be improved, Because I think they routinely do a lot of mowing and maintaining things. And then there are things that don't need to be maintained every week, or maybe even 2 weeks, but need to be maintained occasionally in the summer, or they kind of get away from you. Actually, Aline had something she wanted to say, but she also, brought up the point that, I mean, let's continue to add, places that we may want to maintain. Excuse me. Take it, Aline.
On the list of places to take care of, I think we cannot forget the little park, the Avery little park at the junction of 1 and
Yes.
Coconut. And put the trees to pay attention to those trees that are covered with poison ivy, and also some of them need to come down.
Yes.
Somehow we need to put that on the list, because that will make that area very different once we take care of those big things.
Yes, that's actually on my list of things to do. My question is, do I have to go in front of inland wetlands again? Because the trees we talked about and you sent me the pictures for, and thank you, is outside the
Outside of the wall, yes.
wall. So is that wetlands or is it not wetland?
I would just ask Deb Jones.
Okay, all right. I just, then seems like every time I ask Deb Jones, she wants me to come in front of a meeting again. And so I know if it's a dead tree, there's 2 dead trees we'd like to have removed, one inside the wall, one outside the wall. I know that's okay.
And there's a third one also that could
There's
really
a couple, I think, that were outside the wall that were
Yeah,
really
yeah.
bad, covered with poison ivy, leaning towards the wall, and also getting a little bit in the way of seeing
Right.
the memorial. So that will be a part of my presentation too, is trying to maintain that. Once again, that is coming into town. I mean, Bruce made this point months ago. I mean, you're coming into town and you've got this little messy,
Right.
overgrown little guy and little parklet. And I certainly want it to be left, to be naturalized, but it's not naturalized. Right now it's getting absolutely covered with non-native species, which are invasive and taken over, and it's a mess.
Yeah.
But the other thing is that I pulled from the program I watched on the murals. I wrote it down. It says public art leads to can drive the economy. So that's another point I want to make. It's like, guys, we're not just talking about making things pretty, which I love, but we're talking about driving the economy. And I really believe with all these new schools, people come to a town both for many reasons, but one of the reasons is phenomenal schools. And we have just put all this money into these schools. And I think people are going to want a nice place to be surrounded by, a nice place, not just good schools, but good surroundings.
That's great. That's a wonderful point to make, really is.
Right. Mm-hmm.
All right, well, I want all of you guys, I'm not sure how we're going to be able to participate, but if you could put August 24th at 6:30, if you could keep that open, and I'll let you know if we can participate together, or at least if you can tune into the Zoom meeting and at least maybe send an email of support, or if you are thinking about things and you want me to include something in my presentation. I only have 5 minutes. But I have to be so quick, and yeah, hopefully I can, hit my points and be concise.
Cindy, I suggest that we get a few of us in a room. I think that's a good point that Leanne made. I think it would be a little bit more impressive, and you take the lead and make the presentation, but it would be nice for a few of us anyway to be there.
All right. And it's nice too, because we do have, support from Rachel and support from Leanne, who are knowledgeable about what we're doing. And I'm, Bruce, you and I are similar. I imagine many of us are. We don't want to spend a bunch of money on things that aren't necessary, but I can't imagine out of $137 million budget they don't have a few dollars that we could really help. I mean, I was so impressed when Tabitha, was able to go to her supervisor and he was willing to put out the money for the plants for the Sutton Park sign. I mean, it wasn't a huge amount of money, but boy, did it make it all come together very quickly for us. And that kind of cooperation that's what I'm looking for, just a little
Sure.
cooperation. And I certainly don't, obviously, I'm not thinking, oh, I'm going to get to spend money. I'm not thinking that at all. I just think it would be money that we could use to really, when you walk in, I sent Greg a little message today saying, wouldn't it be nice when you pull into the annex, whether it's an employee or somebody going there for a license or whatever they need to do, to be greeted by something attractive, really greeted,
You bet.
So you think, Cindy, we can plant those containers before the 24th and have that as the project completed by then?
We'll have to decide what we should we put there. I think we certainly could. It's ready to go. The
drip irrigation is working.
It's just that, and what do we do for money? I don't know do you think Public Works has a little bit of money that, or do we put all the same things? Do we just put in, it's a little early for mums, just saying, for good mums.
I mean, I think I could do a little fundraiser just with the annex folks.
But what would you suggest we put in there? I mean, I have,
Oh,
like,
for plantings. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I'd prefer to see something that comes back.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
I love mums, but just to have a few of them.
right.
And they don't be all alike. I mean, I don't think, you want that, everything to look identical. I think it would look better if it didn't. A variety would be nice. I think it would blend nicely even if it was a variety of different colors and different plants.
Right,
Mhm.
and wouldn't it be nice just to, and then, in the spring, you just throw in one annual to make a little pop or put a pop
Right.
animals or something.
Mhm.
Well, we need to consult then on a few different plants. It's just that, that when if I can dig them out of my yard, that's one thing, but then they might not be blooming because,
I think that's okay. I mean, we're talking about things that are just fallow right now. So
Yeah.
you got to start somewhere.
yes,
Mhm.
yes, we do. Well, that would be nice. The other thing, Aline did take pictures before she even got there and started. So then we took pictures after we just weeded and put a couple things in there. And now we could go the next level. If we didn't get it done, I think it still has a lot of meaning, seeing this is how it looks right now, guys. I didn't even really notice. And here, a lot of the counselors, they're going in there for their meetings, or they were briefly. Did they even notice? Did anybody even think about it? Well, you'd certainly notice it. If you were coming from out of town, you might notice it. You might think, ooh, this isn't so good. And you'd also notice if it looked lovely, I believe.
I'd also say, Cindy, you might be able to say, we're investing in this new wayfinding program and putting up these new signs that look really great. We're
Right.
trying to
Mhm.
improve our pride of place that
Mhm.
way. And then we're not putting nice plantings around them. We're just putting signs up.
Right.
Actually, that's the perfect, that's my perfect picture right there, is the Public Works, the new Public Works sign with mulch underneath and a bunch of weeds. And it's just like, guys, come on, this is not an expensive undertaking. That's my other big point. This is not an expensive undertaking. But it takes a little bit of money, it takes a little bit of maintenance. So,
You're
I've-
prioritizing differently, like someone said, and I apologize, I don't remember who said it, but
Mm.
yeah.
it's just what they value versus.
Exactly.
'Cause I worked under a mayor. I've worked under other people, and I've known other people that just have different priorities than.
Right, well, we
It's
actually were
just
even
that.
talking about, was it Michelle, or was it, who was saying there used to be a guy at the, at the, were you saying about the guy who was working at the dump and he always went the extra mile and planted stuff? And now he got moved and he doesn't have the time to do that anymore. So the person who's taken over, it's really, it's kind of, it's just what you want to spend your time on. So,
Are you coming by yourself or?
all right, so the question is, I guess, I mean, I know what I have for plants. I'm not sure how many plants you have.
I don't
Lee,
mind
that you
keeping
actually
the
can
dog, but we may
thin
have
out.
to, you know, depending on the dog.
Well, I have quite a few that I could share. That would be more of a spring type of plants, but they can go in now, certainly.
Mhm.
Please excuse me, I'm gonna have to end. I have like 5% battery and I
Okay.
cannot put on mute, so
Yeah.
you're gonna call
All
the
right.
back. So
If
please,
you have any plants that you can split, let me know.
Okay, I will certainly do that. Alrighty.
All right, thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
So I don't know how long I'm gonna be.
All right,
If 1 o'clock
so
is okay,
that's what I'm trying to figure out is what,
Does that work for you?
I mean,
1 o'clock.
I would love to get, I mean, I also don't want to make it too good, not using any money. So, yeah, I think we just need to put our heads together a little bit. I can, Aline, I mean, I can let you know my list of the things that I have. I mean, I have so much lamb's ear and a lot of daisies and a lot of, you know, but yeah,
I
nothing.
mean, now's the time of year people are splitting, well, just not now, but maybe in a month or so, they're gonna be splitting perennials. So we could say like, hey, if you're splitting your perennials, donate them to this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we basically have 3 things we want to do that for now. We're thinking about for the, although I'd like to get the rest of the community involved for par 4. For par 4, I'd like to get the rest of the community involved, but it's like if we could just, what I'd like to quickly do is the area for the flagpole. That's what I'd like to quickly do, because I think we have enough for that, don't we, Elaine?
That outlet and both of those switches, but I was.
So,
Yeah, I have some ornamental grasses that I could share.
yeah. Yeah. So, all right. All right, well, I think that's what but even if we don't get all those planters done, it's like, maybe we could do one beautiful one
Another wedding?
and say, look what this could look like. The other thing though, and this is kind of to Bruce's point, like I pulled in there today just to see how it looked. And there's grass growing up in the parking lot and all the, you know, nooks and crannies. It's like, really, they don't have anybody who goes and takes care of that?
Probably not. It's a top-down kind of decision that they have to make, and there isn't anybody at the top that's making those decisions.
But I think they're willing to. I think there was a good amount of, and Aline and I were there planting. We had so many people just happy that we were there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I think we could overcome that. And I think there's a good amount of appreciation that could be had.
Mhm.
So, and we're not talking about big bucks here, you know.
They need to come to Jesus movement.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. But also, I mean, it would be nice if it looked pretty. You know, it'd be nice. Don't you think it'd be nice to look, if it looked pretty? Tabitha, when you walked in the morning?
Yeah, I mean, we have these beautiful roses out back, but they're completely choked in weeds most of the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not pointing any fingers. I'm just.
Right, exactly. Exactly. No, I mean, I mean, I have places in my yard that you just have to be like, well, that's not my priority. It's getting overgrown right now. Maybe next year, maybe next month. Okay. All right. Well, so looks like there's lots of consulting that will be going on over the next couple of weeks. Okay. We need to talk to some artists. I need to get this organized and we need to do some planting.
But I got to get this thing.
Yep.
You know, I'm running for school board. So
All right. Well,
Another sketch for par 4.
I'm sorry?
Another sketch for par 4.
Yes, yes. With plants that you think many people might be able to donate. All right.
Mhm.
All right. Okay.
I could, if there are people who are willing to give a lot of plants, I have a pickup truck, so I can pick up somewhere and bring them to the location.
Okay.
Remain teachable, right?
Yeah, that's a great pickup truck too.
Mhm.
Go anywhere, do anything pickup truck. All right. Our next meeting is September 13th. I'm not sure where. Maybe it will be at Nancy's house. Does anybody have anything else they'd like to add at this time?
I'm always doing this.
No? Is there a move to adjourn?
I move to
Yes.
adjourn.
7:08. Sorry, guys. I knew it would be a little bit longer. All right, and thank you all so much for your input. I'm really gonna need your artistic knowledge, Bruce. And everybody else's, I might need some Tabitha, can you ever do sweat equity outside with us? Probably not if it's
Yeah, as long
Thursday.
as I know about it, I can change my outfit.
Okay, all right, okay, all right, we'll let you know then.
Hey Cindy, what's your telephone number? I don't have it.
It's 860-912-9875.
Yep. Uh-huh. Okay. Gotcha.
Okay?
Yep.
Awesome. All right, well then this meeting is adjourned. Thank you all so much. Let's
Thank
keep
you.
communicating.
Talk to
And
you soon.
I really like what Leanne said, is that even though it doesn't seem like it's going very fast, some things are happening, and that gives me great pleasure, and working with all of you too.
Yep.
All right?
Thank you,
Okay.
Cindy.
All right, guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Until next time.
Au revoir.
Au revoir. Bye.
Bye.